State of the School, 12th video, and now I'm on the subject of the more specific subject of housing. How could I house people here? And from the last video, you now know a little bit about folk huts. And if you've looked at those two links, well, then you know a lot about folk huts. You could build one. But what I want to go on now with is, I had said that they're under 100 square feet. Well, one thing I want to say is I'm decent, affordable housing. Really, in a way, you'd say what I'm talking about is housing for the homeless, because I'm not allowing for any space for furniture, possessions beyond a couple of books. I mean, a couple of shelves. You know, the bed would be probably built in, but it would have a heating plant. You'd be able to cook there, have a kitchen in effect. But I've discussed that, I think, elsewhere. What I want to say today is I've learned over the last year that I can put them on top of something even smaller, a 64 square foot, because I have been able to get a very large supply of 4x4s, 8 foot long. They're usually pine of some kind. I mean, lots of them. And I can stack them like this, like you would a log cabin. And so my name for these is folk cabins. And I just come to a point where I need help to do it, or more time. I kind of had to stop. But I can take a folk cabin, extend the floor out far enough to reach the 8 by 12 and 5 inches, so that I can put on top of that a folk hut. Now it's 2 stories high. And what I call that combination of the two, a folk cabin with a folk hut on top of it, I call that a folk tower. And you know, you've seen, if you've followed this channel much at all, you've seen up on top of the hill where I've got them gathered up. I've got a place where basically everything's there, the material's all there, and most of them are stacked for 7 folk towers. Now the folk huts, actually building the folk huts on top, for that I'd have to bring in new material. But I really like to at least get the cabin up and the floor on and sealed. Now these are tiny. They're tiny, but they're decent. And another thing, maybe now's the time to mention it. Heat, being warm enough in this climate, or not warm enough, is what will kill you quickest in this climate, in the northern climates. I mean, being too hot can kill you in the south, I know, but being too cold is a very, you would die quite quickly of exposure or hypothermia if you were outside much here. So, and we combat that in general with combustion, with fire. But there's another way, and that's respiration. If you've ever gone in a barn with cows in it, they don't have a fire, hopefully, but the cows are respiring and they're giving off enough heat that it's really warm in there. Well, people do the same thing if you've got a small enough space. So being very small is critical to having a sustainable architecture. In sustainable, meaning not guzzling up oil or natural gas or too much firewood. In this climate, it's got to be tiny. You live outside, but then you come in. So anyway, I guess all I want to say for now is that there is this other unit. Oh, and in addition to those 7 up there, I have 4 down here. That's for what I call the folk fold, or the collection of them. We've got folk cabins with folk huts on top, and the collection makes a folk fold, like you fold sheep. And down here I've got 4 shorter ones as part of the pig fold. Okay, I guess that's enough for today.